Have you ever felt like your child knows exactly how to push your buttons? One minute you're calm and composed, the next you're saying things you swore you'd never say. You love your child deeply, but sometimes their behavior feels impossible to handle. Whether it's backtalk, defiance, or endless whining, these moments can make even the most patient parent lose control. Here's the truth. Your child isn't trying to make you angry. They're trying to communicate something they don't yet have the words or emotional tools to express. And your reaction, that flash of frustration or guilt afterward, isn't a sign of failure. It's your nervous system reacting to stress. In this video, we're going to uncover why kids push our emotional triggers and, more importantly, how to stay calm and connected, even when their behavior tests every ounce of your patience. You'll learn how to break the cycle of yelling, guilt, and disconnection, not through willpower, but through understanding what's actually happening in your child's brain and yours. Because here's the truth. Calm isn't something you demand from your child. It's something you model for them. And when you do, everything changes. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint for weekly videos that help you raise confident, emotionally healthy, and cooperative kids without yelling or punishment. And also, don't forget to comment here your situation and feelings. I read and answer all message. Let's start with what's really going on when your child's behavior seems to push your buttons. When your child screams no or rolls their eyes at you, it triggers an automatic emotional response, not just in your mind, but in your body. That tightness in your chest, the racing heart, the urge to shout, that's your fight or flight response kicking in. It's the same system your brain uses in moments of danger. The problem? Your brain can't tell the difference between an actual threat and your 7-year-old refusing to brush their teeth. And here's where it gets even trickier. Your child's brain is still under construction. The part responsible for self-control, the prefrontal cortex, won't fully mature until their mid-20s. That means emotional outbursts, impulsive behavior, and defiance aren't personal attacks. They're signs that your child's nervous system is overwhelmed. So when both your nervous systems go into survival mode, calm goes out the window. For both of you, the key to breaking the cycle starts with regulating yourself first. You can't pour calm into a storm unless you've found your own center. In a moment, we'll go step by step through how to do that. But first, we need to understand why certain behaviors hit us harder than others. Let's talk about the real reason your child's behavior can trigger such a strong emotional reaction in you, even when you know it's not personal. Every parent has what psychologists call hot buttons. These are emotional triggers that come from your own past, your upbringing, childhood experiences, or even the expectations you've set for yourself as a parent. Maybe when you were little, talking back wasn't allowed, so when your child questions you, it feels like disrespect. Or maybe you grew up feeling unseen, so when your child ignores you, it feels deeply hurtful, even if that's not their intention. These hidden emotional echoes can turn small moments into big battles before we even realize it's happening. The first step to breaking free from this pattern is self-awareness. Start by noticing when you get triggered. Is it when your child interrupts you, when they refuse to listen, or maybe when they cry over something that seems trivial? Pay attention to what happens in your body. Tension in your jaw, a faster heartbeat, that urge to control the situation. That's your nervous system saying, I feel unsafe. But here's the key. Your child's behavior isn't unsafe. It's uncomfortable. And there's a big difference. When you can pause and recognize that distinction, I'm uncomfortable, not in danger, you take back control. You're no longer reacting out of instinct. You're responding from intention. The next step is regulation. Calming your body before you try to correct your child's behavior. Because if your brain is flooded with stress hormones, no parenting technique in the world will work. Try this. Take one deep breath, in through your nose, out through your mouth, and drop your shoulders. Even a 3-second pause can reset your entire response. If you can, step away for a moment. Tell your child, I need a second to calm down before we talk. You're not giving in, you're modeling emotional control. And kids learn far more from what you do than what you say. Once you're calm, you can focus on the deeper question. What is my child trying to communicate through this behavior? Because all behavior is communication. When your child yells, they're saying, I feel powerless. When they ignore you, they're saying, I want control. When they cry, they're saying, I'm overwhelmed. And when you respond with empathy, I can see you're frustrated right now. Let's figure this out together, sus. You're teaching emotional regulation in real time. Here's something powerful. When you stay calm, your child's brain literally starts to sync with yours. This is called co-regulation. Your nervous system teaching theirs what calm feels like. Over time, they internalize that sense of safety, and their ability to self-regulate grows. Next, we'll explore the practical strategies to stay calm and connected in the moment, especially during those power struggles that seem impossible to win. Let's talk about what happens in those moments that really test your patience. The power struggles, the defiance, the no key that echoes through the house for the 10th time today. Every parent knows the frustration of trying to get a child to cooperate when it feels like they're deliberately resisting. But here's something most people don't realize. Defiance is not disrespect. It's development. When your child says, you can't make me, or refuses to do something simple like brushing their teeth, they're not trying to challenge your authority. They're actually practicing autonomy, the sense of, I have control over myself. That's a crucial developmental milestone, but it's also one of the hardest phases for parents to navigate calmly. The problem begins when we interpret that behavior as defiance instead of growth. Our instinct is to push back, to regain control, to assert authority, and before we know it, both sides are locked in a power struggle. Nobody wins, and everyone ends up upset. So what's the solution? It's called gentle leadership. This means staying firm without being harsh, guiding without overpowering. You're still the parent, but you lead through calm authority, not fear or force. Here's how it works in practice. When your child refuses, instead of saying, do it now, try, I can see you don't want to do that right now. Let's figure out what's getting in the way. That shift in tone turns conflict into collaboration. It shows your child you care about their feelings and expect cooperation. Both can exist together. You can also use choice within limits to reduce resistance. Instead of commanding, offer controlled options. You can brush your teeth before or after we read your story. Your choice. This gives your child a sense of control while still guiding them toward the right outcome. Another powerful strategy is narrating emotions in the heat of the moment. When you calmly name what's happening, you're really frustrated that playtime is over, you're helping your child put words to their feelings instead of acting them out. And over time, they start to internalize that language. Instead of yelling, they might eventually say, I'm mad. And that's a big win. But what if you lose your cool? It happens to every parent. The key is what you do after. Repair the moment. Say something like, I got really frustrated earlier, and I shouldn't have yelled. I'm sorry. Let's try again. That simple act of repair teaches accountability and emotional safety. It tells your child that relationships can recover after conflict, an incredibly powerful life lesson. In the next section, we'll go deeper into how to build emotional safety, so your child listens and cooperates not out of fear, but from genuine respect and connection. Now let's dive into one of the most overlooked, yet most powerful parts of parenting, emotional safety. If your child doesn't feel emotionally safe, no amount of discipline, reasoning, or motivation will work. Emotional safety is the invisible foundation that determines how your child responds to you, whether they listen, defy, or shut down. Think of it this way. When a child feels emotionally safe, their nervous system is calm and open. They can process instructions, learn from mistakes, and connect with you. But when they feel threatened, Even by your tone, facial expression, or body language, their brain goes into survival mode. Logic shuts down, emotions take over, and communication collapses. This doesn't mean you have to be soft or permissive. It means that your child must feel safe even when you're setting boundaries. That's what separates fear-based obedience from genuine respect. So, how do you build emotional safety, especially when things have been tense for a while? The first step is repair after rupture. Every relationship, even the healthiest ones, will have moments of disconnection. What matters isn't perfection, but what happens next. After an argument, take the initiative to reconnect. You might say, "Hey, I didn't like how we both got upset earlier. Let's talk about what happened." This models emotional maturity. It teaches your child that it's okay to make mistakes, and more importantly, that love and connection remain constant even after conflict. The second step is consistent empathy. Empathy doesn't mean agreeing with bad behavior. It means acknowledging the feeling behind it. When your child screams, "You're the worst," instead of saying, "Don't talk to me like that," you can respond, "You're really angry right now. I get that." You're not approving of the words. You're validating the emotion underneath. And once the emotion is acknowledged, the behavior becomes easier to correct calmly. Another pillar of emotional safety is predictability. Kids feel secure when they know what to expect. That's why routines, like bedtime rituals, morning check-ins, or family dinners, are so powerful. They send the message, "You can trust me, you can count on me." Even when life gets unpredictable, having small constants like a hug before school or reading together every night helps anchor your child emotionally. Here's something most parents miss. Emotional safety isn't just about how you talk to your child. It's also about how you talk to yourself in front of them. If your child sees you beating yourself up, "I can't do anything right, I'm such a bad mom to dad," they internalize that same self-talk. But when they see you handle mistakes with grace, "I messed up, but I can fix it," they learn that imperfection is part of growth. Children learn emotional regulation through you. The way you handle your emotions teaches them how to handle theirs. If you want to rebuild trust and closeness after conflict, focus less on getting your child to listen and more on making them feel heard. You can say things like, "I understand this is hard for you. I can see why you'd feel that way. I'm listening." It may sound simple, but those words create safety faster than any punishment or lecture ever could. Because for a child, feeling understood is what opens the door to cooperation. And remember, emotional safety isn't built in a day. It's built in thousands of small moments. The way you listen, the way you respond when they're upset, the way you come back together after a fight. When your child knows that your love is stronger than their mistakes, you stop being the person they fear and become the person they trust. In the next section, we'll explore how to turn that trust into true cooperation, where your child listens willingly, takes responsibility, and starts choosing the right thing on their own. Now that your child feels emotionally safe, the next step is helping them cooperate willingly, not out of fear, but out of trust, respect, and inner motivation. Most parents think the goal is obedience, but true success in parenting isn't about raising an obedient child. It's about raising a self-disciplined one. Obedience relies on external control. Self-discipline grows from internal motivation, a child choosing to do what's right, even when no one is watching. So how do you get there? It starts with connection before correction. If your child feels disconnected from you, no amount of talking, consequences, or logic will work. But when they feel close and seen, they're naturally more open to cooperation. Before you correct behavior, take a moment to connect emotionally. For example, instead of saying, "Why haven't you cleaned your room yet?" try, "Hey buddy, looks like you got busy with other stuff. Need a hand getting started?" That subtle shift from command to connection changes everything. The next principle is collaboration over control. Kids crave autonomy, the sense that they have a say in what happens to them. You can honor that by involving them in decisions that affect them. Instead of laying down a rule like no screens before homework, try saying, "We need a plan to make sure homework gets done before screen time." What do you think would help? When children feel their opinions matter, they develop ownership over their choices, and that ownership fuels self-discipline far more effectively than threats or bribes ever could. Another powerful strategy is natural consequences instead of punishment. Punishment teaches fear and avoidance. Natural consequences teach cause and effect. If your child forgets their lunch, resist the urge to rush it to school immediately. Let them experience mild discomfort, hunger, and then talk it through later. That must have been tough. What could we do differently next time? The lesson sticks not because they were scolded, but because they experienced the outcome themselves in a safe, supportive way. Consistency is key. You can't expect cooperation one day if your rules and reactions change every time. Predictable, calm boundaries are what give kids the confidence to self-regulate. Even if they resist, they feel safe knowing you'll remain steady, not reactive or unpredictable. And here's the secret sauce: gentle persistence. This is the balance point between firmness and empathy. It's saying, "I understand you don't want to do this, but it still needs to happen, and I'll help you through it." No shouting, no threats, just steady guidance. Over time, this teaches children that cooperation isn't about surrendering, it's about partnership. The long-term goal is to raise a child who wants to do the right thing, not because they fear consequences, but because it feels right internally. That's the heart of self-discipline, a value system built from trust, empathy, and respect. When you combine connection, consistency, and calm authority, you're shaping your child's emotional and moral compass. You're teaching them how to listen not just to you, but to their own inner voice, the one that says, "I can handle this. I know what's right." And when that happens, you've done more than get them to listen. You've raised a confident, kind, and emotionally intelligent human being. If you're finding this message helpful, take a moment to subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint. Each week, we share practical, science-backed strategies to help you parent with calm, confidence, and connection, from toddlers to teens. Because parenting isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, learning, and growing together. Let's bring it all together. If you've made it this far, it means you're not just looking for quick fixes. You're trying to build something deeper. You want a lasting relationship with your child, one built on respect, trust, and emotional connection. And that's exactly what separates reactive parenting from intentional parenting. You've learned that getting your child to obey willingly isn't about more rules, louder voices, or stricter punishments. It's about shifting from control to connection, from demanding obedience to cultivating cooperation. When your child feels safe, seen, and respected, their natural instinct is to follow your lead, not because they're afraid of you, but because they trust you. That's the ultimate power of calm, emotionally intelligent parenting. Let's quickly recap what we've covered. It starts with understanding behavior as communication, not defiance. When your child refuses, argues, or melts down, they're not being bad. They're expressing an unmet need, an emotion they don't yet have the tools to handle. When you respond with empathy instead of anger, you teach them emotional intelligence, the skill that will guide them for life. Then, you learn the importance of emotional safety. When your child knows that love doesn't disappear when they mess up, that mistakes can be repaired, and that they're allowed to have feelings, that's when true trust forms. And trust is what makes children open to guidance. We also talked about connection before correction. Every time you pause, make eye contact, or choose curiosity over control, you're building cooperation instead of resistance. These small choices, listening before lecturing, validating before correcting, turn everyday chaos into opportunities for growth. And finally, we explored how to help your child develop self-discipline, not through fear or rewards, but through natural consequences, collaboration, and gentle persistence. When you stop doing everything for your child and start guiding them to do things with you, you teach responsibility, confidence, and self-respect. Here's something most parents don't realize. Children don't learn self-control from being controlled. They learn it from being guided by someone calm enough to model it. That's you. Your presence, your tone, your ability to pause before reacting, those are the lessons your child will carry into adulthood. Because long after they forget your words, they'll remember how it felt to be with you, safe, loved, and respected. So if you ever doubt yourself, remember this. Parenting isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. Every time you choose to connect instead of correct, to listen instead of lecture, to breathe instead of yell, you're rewriting the pattern. You're showing your child that love is steady, even when life isn't. The next time your child pushes your buttons, pause for a moment and remind yourself, this is not a battle to win. It's a relationship to build. And here's the best part. It's never too late to start. Whether your child is 3, 7, or 17, connection always has the power to rebuild what disconnection has damaged. If you found this video helpful, take a second to subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint. Every week, we share practical, psychology-backed strategies to help you raise confident, emotionally healthy kids without yelling, guilt, or guesswork. Because when you learn to parent with calm authority and empathy, you're not just raising a well-behaved child, you're raising a resilient human being who knows how to listen, communicate, and love deeply. Thanks for watching. And remember, you're doing better than you think.